everybody, I am going to be doing my first video in my series of the guide to mixed media techniques and products. I am really excited to be sharing with you what I like to use in my projects, and I hope that you find it helpful. I know some of you were really excited about my videos, so I hope I don't disappoint. But in these videos, I will be sharing with you what I like to use, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite products and going in a little bit of detail on why I like to use them. And so let's get started. I wanted to start off with the basic things to get and things that I like to use. So for paper, I like to get paper with some texture and some interest in the back when doing scrapbook layouts, tags, that type of thing, just to kind of give a starting point to your project. These are just a very select few that I pulled from my stash just very quickly. Okay, next we're going to do gesso. We're going to talk a little bit about gesso. I use clear gesso the most. I typically like to prep my pages with clear gesso so that I could still see the pattern in the back, and then also use all of my inks and sprays and paints and everything like that. So I will go into more detail about gesso in a later video, but I prep my pages mostly with clear gesso and sometimes white gesso, depending on the what project I'm doing. So I wanted to give you a little example. This one I prepped the center of the layout with white gesso, and I wanted to have the images on the outer edges of the paper fully show, and I was focusing more on the middle of the page, so I didn't prep the page. I didn't prep the whole page, just the center of the page. A lot of times I don't know what I'm going to be doing, so I just prep my whole page with clear gesso, and so I could see all the pattern paper in the back. So this one I did clear gesso, and I even did a little bit of white gesso after I added some of the modeling paste, or the light paste I should say, and just to kind of brush it over there. So like I said, depending on the look of what you want, you're going to either choose clear if you want your pattern paper to show, if you kind of want a whitewashed look, or if you want it to be completely white in the back, you can use white gesso. Okay, so next we're going to move on to adding texture to the background of your projects. And typically I'm talking about scrapbooking layouts and using mixed media techniques and products on your scrapbooking layouts or cards. So what I like to do is I like to use stamps, and you can get stamps fairly cheap, like these little stamps here. I have a lot of texture to them. This one here I think is probably a couple bucks. These are like $1 or $2 as well. And then you can move on to these. Are really great. It has different images and texture in them. Script is really nice as well. If you can get one stamp set or one stamp, I would definitely go with this one. This one's really great. It's big. You can use sections of it, or you can use the whole thing. Really, really great. If you want a lot of different options to choose from, the Finnabair stamp sets are really great because you can use the titles, or you know, this one has butterflies, circles with different images in them. So the Finnabair ones are really, really great if you want a lot to choose from. And I believe they are about $10. So really, really great price, and you get a lot of different images. Another one that I love is this stitch circle one. I really, really love this one. I use it a lot. So these are just some of my favorites. There is probably millions of stamps to choose from. So you just kind of find what you are like. Stamping in the background of your layouts or cards, you're going to want to use a permanent ink. I use StazOn. I use black ink most of the time. If I want a lighter color, I normally will do Versamark and white embossing powder. It kind of does like this resist effect. Another way you can add texture to your projects is cheesecloth. So another way you can add texture, and if you are familiar with my channel and my projects, you will see that I do this a lot. This is upholstery thread. So you just take it, wrap it around, and then you can kind of spread it out and add it to your projects. So another cheap way to add texture. So another way you can add texture is tissue paper. So if you are a crafter already, you will have stamps in your stash, and you want to take StazOn ink, stamp, you know, a big portion of the tissue paper, and then you can add it to your cards, your layouts, and you can always just kind of crunch it up and create lots of texture that way as well. So this is definitely a cheap way to add more texture to your layout. So another way you can add lots of texture to your projects is stencils. I love stencils. I have a ton of them, but I always tend to grab the same probably 5 or 6 stencils. So these are my favorites at the moment. And you can use inks, you know, just kind of ink them, or what I do is I like light paste. A lot of people use modeling paste, but I find it heavier and it takes a lot longer to dry. But you do get a lot more dimension with modeling paste. But I always go for light paste. And it is like, I want to say it's like frosting almost. It's very light and airy, and I find it a little bit grittier than modeling paste, and I like the look after I use my sprays and things on over the light paste more than the modeling paste. I don't know, it's probably the same to some people, but to me, light paste. So that's my favorite anyways. Okay, so adding color to your projects, I always go for my color bloom sprays, and I typically use the same color combination: soft teal, deep teal, and tea stain. So these are my go-to colors. I have been recently using more colors, and I also like to use my chalk edgers. These are great, and I use these in conjunction with my watercolor brushes. These are great because you have the water right in them, and just kind of squeeze, and if you're doing it on your, you know, craft mat or plastic or something, you just mix it around and it creates a nice color for you for your projects. So the chalk edgers come in tons of different colors, and they're cheap. I think they're like $1.50 or somewhere around there, depending probably on where you live. So you can definitely just pick up your favorite colors, and you don't have to have the watercolor brush. You can have just a regular paintbrush and add water. So you can do that as well. This layout here, I use chalk edgers to create my background. And it was a lot of fun. Nice watercolor look. So another product I love to use is the water-soluble oil pastels. And these are a little pricey, but for what you get, it definitely is worth the money, because I use these a lot and I barely have put a dent in them. So these are great as well if you want a variety of colors. So next is layering your projects. But I typically use chipboard pieces that have a lot of, you know, fun different textures. And so these I would layer like behind some of my pattern paper that I've layered on the back of my project, or for the background of my project. Same with flowers. I love these white flowers from Prima. They come in 24 pieces, and you can color them to any project that you're creating. I always tend to go for these just because I always use up the same colored flowers that I have. But definitely you can choose. So these are white. You can color those as well. But all these flowers, you know, there's millions and millions of different flowers you can get. Another way to add layers to your projects is paper. So you can tear the paper, you can cut the paper, and just layer them up with either cardboard, or I use chipboard. You can use pop dots, whatever you have on hand to give it a nice lift from the paper. I love baby wipes. I use them to clean my hands, wipe my surface, help spread around color, everything I use baby wipes for. And these I think are like $1 or $1.50 at Walmart, so nothing special. And so you can get those. And I also love a fan brush. So I use a fan brush when I am doing splatters. I don't know what it is, it works very well. And glue, you're going to want to get some good glue. I love E6000, and I also love Fabri-Tac. I use hot glue sometimes when I'm kind of wanting to hurry, but I do add some Fabri-Tac or E6000 to my elements that I'm adding to my project. Okay, another extra type of thing that I like is clear crackle paste, and I will go into more detail in a later video. But another one is my distress tool. This tool is great. It has like this cool scraper on the bottom, and let's see if I can get that. And I use this right here. I have had this tool for probably since it came out, and I use it all the time, and it still works. So this comes off. You have like your extra. I don't really use this end that often. I normally use this end, and this is kind of like a sandpaper, so it really works to kind of rough up your pages and stuff. So, oh, I put that on wrong. So another tool. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and my next video I will be talking about prepping your pages. So I will be, well, that's not gesso, This is gesso. I'll be talking about clear gesso, white gesso, and black gesso, and when to use them. In my eyes, definitely these videos are my perspective, and everybody has a different way of creating. Everybody has a different workflow and things that they like. So these videos are definitely what I like, and products I like to use and techniques that I like to use. So next video, gesso. So give this one a thumbs up so I know that you like it, and hopefully I will have the next video up in the next few days. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!